introduction slash disclaimer that I am tacking on at the beginning of every one of these videos. Please watch it at least once before you skip it for the rest of them. Surprise! My younger sister filmed a reaction to my reaction videos. So, it is not just me and my feelings and opinions toward these games that you're gonna get her ideas and opinions too. When I first filmed these videos, I was doing it super brief because I never know what to expect out of YouTube. I didn't expect such a huge response from my introduction thing, so maybe you guys actually do want some more. So, these are like 3 to 4 times longer than they originally were, and my sister added a whole lot of input and reminded me of a lot of stuff too along the way. So, I hope you enjoy. And I was also going to say, yeah, I do not have any help editing these videos, so it will take a while for me to get all of these Final Fantasy videos up, especially now that I have even longer content to piece together and present to you. So I really hope it's worth it by the time it's done. Remember, I am a story explorer on an adventure to think critically even while enjoying the fun of whatever I'm watching, playing, or reading. This is my goal. Therefore, it's easy for me to be wrong, and I'm open to comments that disagree with me. I only ask that they are polite and that you provide the evidence-based reasoning backing up what you're saying the same way that I try to make sure that I am too. Emotions always get in the way. I am a very emotional person, but please, we need our brain turned on here. Please leave room for misunderstanding as well, because it could just be that I worded something badly. And equally important is the factor of nostalgia. I am treading all over my own nostalgia when it comes to the Final Fantasy games. I spent my most emotional teenage years playing these things the first time around. I have multiple reasons for the nostalgia to be intense, but with this in mind, remember that I am most likely going to be treading all over yours nostalgia as well. And therefore, I hope that you will keep that in mind before leaving a comment, if/when I strike a nerve. All of the following is based on my own experience with these games, and that is specifically the games themselves and what I remember and noticed while playing them. And while replaying them, because some of my opinions changed along the way. And with all of that out of the way, I hope you enjoy these videos. If you do, please like the video or leave a comment so that I know. And if you don't like them, go ahead to dislike it or leave it a comment explaining why. Just like I said, please be polite while doing it, because I refuse to let fights happen in my comment section, and I will delete comments if that's what it takes to stop a fight. So, enjoy. Now I'm just awkwardly over here picking my nose on the edge of the camera. And then we can also add the whole topic we were talking about. What did I say she did? Oh, the language. And the whole dialogue. The difference between the old dialogues and the new ones. That's your pinhead. There's sand on my shoe. When you're standing in the middle of the desert.
There's sand on my shoes.
Yes, while you're standing in the middle of the desert.
There's like pause. And then all of a sudden the soldier will like... And you're like, what's the point in that, Captain? You're just gonna get more sand on your shoes the second you take a step.
That's the point! Get an observe that guy. You're walking through a desert and you're gonna go play with the sand
like,
on your shoes.
You could just imagine the soldiers after that, every like 3 steps.
Yeah, walking
Kefka takes another 3 steps. It's like, oh my gosh, Kefka.
Yeah, and like I didn't mention anywhere on here.
Wait, he can't do magic, right?
Another wrap-up thing is going, like, you know, what I said about the difference between them actually being, like, the difference between a stage play and a movie. That's the difference between old games and nowadays. Final Fantasy VII Original versus Rebirth. It's like a stage play versus a movie. But anyway, onwards to 3 and 6. This is the only one I edited already, so there's pictures and stuff on it already. Hello, and thanks for clicking on this video. This is the second video in the series. We are now going to get into the Final Fantasy games that I did play, and there is an order of this is how I played them, or close to the order. As you'll see, it gets a little confusing. But what I'm actually going to do is just go through in chronological number order. 3, 6, 7, 8, etc. So, Final Fantasy III. The main character is Lunith in the 3D version, or simply Onion Knight with no default name in the original game.
I think that name's kind of cute, the Onion Knight.
That's literally a job class.
I know, it's kind of cute. Onion Knight. Okay.
But when I
Onion
talk
Knight.
about some of the classes that are completely useless until you get them to a certain level, apparently Onion Knight is one of those. I read a line that is like completely useless until you get it until like 80 or 90s level. I'm like, seriously?
Which takes flat out forever.
You'd be finished the game in the same amount of time. Maybe even 5 times over. It is so short before you get that thing to that level.
Thinking about it now, yeah.
You didn't play 3. You said you didn't play
I think somebody else played 3, and I think I did see that. But jobs in general. 4 and 5 have jobs, and jobs in general are just...
Yes, I talk about it. But actually, I think it's kind
6
of
does not have jobs.
It's a little bit of a cool nod how some of the later ones actually have like slight like job class.
Yeah,
like I mean 10-2
goes back to their jobs.
Yeah, they just don't have quite as many, I don't think. No. But some of the other ones, like even in 7, it's not that they were different jobs, but at the same time some of their costumes and some of the references are almost like a reference to the job classes.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
I go into why I don't like the job classes here.
No,
personally I can't do them.
From what I remember, they are frustrating to the nth degree jobs. Because, like, not only do you have to go through the whole leveling up system in general, but you have to level up every freaking job.
Well, you don't have to level them all up.
But if
you only have to level up the ones you want to use and the ones you need. Let me finish what I was trying to say in my video. And I assume that no default name also applies to Ark, Refia, and Ingus, because those are the 4 characters in this game. I mean, we just mentioned in the ones that I haven't played, some of the Final Fantasies where it's like 25 characters and you're like, wow. What? And then you have Final Fantasy 3 that's like 4. Oh, I prefer it when there's less characters. Anyway, I pretty much get into it in 8. And that's when I said it's like it becomes a melding pot and 12. Because the more characters you have, the more some of them unavoidably get sidelined. Mm-hmm. And they just do not get as rounded out.
It happens a little too much in 8. They're not part of the story.
When there's less characters. Anyway, this is the oldest one that I've played. The oldest numbered game that I've played. Final Fantasy 3. And I actually haven't finished it yet. I bought it on my cell phone and didn't get too far when I got interrupted and lost my save game. And when I got back to it again and I was playing it again, I was 98% sure that I am so close to the end of the game. All I've got left is the final boss and wrap-up stuff. Pretty sure that's all I've got left. But as with a lot of things, I got interrupted and so far simply haven't gone back to it yet. So I'm not done. My goodness, keep count of how many times I've done this with the Final Fantasy series. Almost done, but not actually done. So many of them the first time, and maybe even the second time through these games. I just keep not finishing it. I'm so close to ADHD. Anyway. Okay, so this is going to be a piece here, a piece there from several different days and whatnot. Sorry about that if it's confusing or annoying. But when I originally read the script that I wrote, for some odd reason, even I, who know what I'm thinking, am watching back the video and I'm like, why do I have that expression on my face? And even worse, why did I read it in that tone? I did not understand. So I'm rereading. It's such a super simple story, there's barely anything there, honestly. Even the character's about as flat as the graphics on the screen. But what I meant by that, there's 2 things very, very, very important there. For one thing, the way it's worded makes it kind of sound mean. I'm not trying to be mean, let me explain. The graphics on the screen, I have the best memory in the world! Probably in the universe! I was thinking of the original games when I said that. From 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All of those original ones, they were very 2D. I think that's what you call that one. I don't think that's 3D yet. It's 2D still. So it's very, very, like, pixelated and graphic-y. That's just how the game, how all of them were back then. 7 is the first one that was, like, 3D, and they looked like Lego figures, and it just gets better from there. However, I have on my phone, I have the 3D version, and the graphics in the 3D version, they are, like, beyond adorable. And this is completely my opinion. I know, like, different people prefer different things, and I'm not entirely sure why, but I think this style of art right here, what they look like here, I find that personally, I find it so cute. And so, like, it's so simple, and it feels very, very down to earth. Things are so high definition now that you can see the tiny little definition, and therefore everything on screen must be perfect. And it's like leaking into everything these days because we have such high definition. That's what I feel is happening. And I feel like people are so uptight, the actors in real life are so uptight as they're acting these days in comparison to what it used to be. They're more relaxed and more real. And these games, like when I see this kind of artwork, to me, like that's realistic looking enough. Like 8 was a little bit sad because you could see corners. They weren't nice and smooth characters. There was corners. And like this adorable scene, one of everybody's favorite scenes with Renoa and Squall in the Ragnarok, her legs are a mile long. And that kind of takes you out of the moment just a little bit. You kind of gotta like pretend that part of the screen doesn't exist because her legs are so long, it looks ridiculous. But when you go backwards, I mean, the 3D versions were done way later than the original. I don't know how much time between it, doesn't matter. I'm taking longer on this than I meant to. The point is, like, this kind of art, it was like true to the like down-to-earth neighbor next door, realistic, in here, comfortable, just enjoying art. Just enjoying the fact that it's a game. We don't have to be so incredibly high definition that everything must be literally perfect or it's not good enough. So I absolutely love the artwork in the 3D version of it. When I said flat as the graphics on the screen, I meant the original flat graphics. But also, I was not trying to be insulting to the characters when I said that, nor was I trying to be insulting to the story when I said that there was like, it was so simple, there's barely anything there. What I meant, mainly, like, if you take Final Fantasy III as a game in and of itself, it is worth playing. It was fun. I enjoyed playing it, and I still need to finish it, etc. Like, go play it. It's worth it. It's a good game. And there's lots of things that are very enjoyable about it. I just meant, in comparison to the other Final Fantasies, it felt very small, and therefore it's kind of forgettable. It's just the way that they put the story together, it's like they weren't even trying to make it anything bigger, and my sister and I get into this in a minute, why. But it's like they weren't trying to make it super, super, super memorable or anything like that in terms of the story of the characters necessarily yet. They didn't mind keeping it small and kind of The characters are extremely stereotypical, is kind of what I mean. They just blend with other stories that you've read or watched where the characters are extremely similar. So that's what I meant by that.
I feel like a lot of the first ones were very basic feeling for the stories because of the time period and how hard it kind of was to make some of them.
Probably. Because they
so
probably
the storyline
effort
itself kind of had to be a little bit more basic. It's been over 15 years since I played 5. 5, I do remember that they killed off a character, one of the main characters, that was like, when it happened.
Well, that's a fun to look forward to.
Yeah, no, they do. They actually killed. That was like the first one that they actually killed. And I'm pretty sure he was a major
why
character.
did Aerith explode for all the love of sanity in the world?
If
they've killed main characters numerous times before,
character.
Why did she flippin' explode?
He was a major side character. I don't remember which character he was, but when I was playing the game, I didn't expect it to happen, and it was like it was like what?
Every time you do that, date yourself.
Kill him. Oh. But even 5, it had a story, but I don't think it was necessarily a complicated story. Like
they all have stories. That's the point of the Final
isn't
Fantasy.
A complicated
RPG,
story,
role-playing game.
Yeah.
They have stories. It's just a matter of how deep or how wide or how complex the story is.
4, I honestly don't remember.
Which again, I think is possibly one of the reasons why 4 got sidelined, because they were so simple, and all of a sudden you had 6 and 7, and then 8 happened, and they're like, what?
Yeah.
Because the story is so much more backtracked again in comparison to 6 and 7.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually mean it's smaller. You think it's not actually smaller if you get in, because it has more depth to the characters and relations and stuff.
To it.
Yeah, it's the thing, it's the hidden details. Because they're like, here's the story and the sub things.
Though I will still agree with a lot of people in the fact that they could have put more in there.
Yes.
They really could have
don't talk about 8 until we get to
the actual story in there.
Don't get too far out.
I was going to say.
Like, you're the one that can unpause it if you're ready to go. Whenever that was that the company released the videos with these characters in epic graphic form, it got me really excited. I was like, cool, what is this one?
But honestly, apart from how beautiful they are, when I actually went and started playing the game, the gameplay was also pretty simple. The whole job thing's still in use, which actually annoys me, to be honest.
Have many options and not knowing which one is the best for the job. See, finally you start getting somewhere with this one. When you have to start.
Now, the second part that I have to refilm is about the jobs. The gameplay was pretty simple. The whole job thing's still in use, which actually annoys me, if I'm honest, because I don't like having that many options, not knowing which one is the best one until it's too late to switch over to it. How much more of this do I want to read? And the fact some of them have to be a certain level before they're even remotely useful, but there are certain fights or situations where you really need that job, while other circumstances need other jobs. Like, what a chore to keep up with this all. I mean, if you play the game multiple times to try every kind of combination and whatnot, this is actually a pretty good idea. It is, and I'll get to it. But it's also, for me, it's a chore. And it's not just me, because as my sister's reacting, you can see, you already saw in a clip that I put earlier, she doesn't like the whole job thing either. It's such a chore to me there's too many options. And if it was you could pick one or two of them and just keep that throughout the game, and then the next time you play it, pick another two and throughout the game and whatever, that would maybe be okay. But within Final Fantasy III, there's a few times that I'm remembering where in order to beat certain bosses or whatever, you actually really do need certain specific job types. So if you're suddenly at that boss and you never used that job type, so it's down there at level 1 when this boss is at level 50, you're in big trouble. You're not going to be able to do it. You're suddenly going to have to skewer off and spend a few hours upgrading that job. So, and the rest of it I think we say. So that's just the parts that I wanted to refilm and explain a little better. Back to the original content and the secondary original content of me and my sister. Turn-based, however, I'll get more into that, I'm sure. But short form of which camp I'm in, real-time versus turn-based, I am absolutely 100% unequivocally in the turn-based camp. Here's a little comic for you that describes me, how I feel to a T. It legit made me laugh, but it also made me cry. We'll get back to it. That's about all I can say about 3, I think. And it's not so much because I haven't played it in a while. It's because, they're okay, but do they stick out and really stand out as absolute favorites because they're so whatever? No. And this is an incredibly short one. Maybe I should add 6 to it as well, because I was going to do them all separately. But you know what? Final Fantasy VI. Locke. But also, my sister would argue, Celise. I think is how you say her name. Or possibly even Terra. Because this is one of the ones where it actually switches around between who is the main character, the one that you're actually using.
I'm sitting here thinking the different sections you had. When you're playing the game, there's 3 or 4 different times where you're split into different groups. And I'm thinking of the different sections. I think there's at least twice where you're split into 4 groups. And then each section you can actually end up with having each section with 4 people in each of the sections.
Well, see, you have to do things like that.
These are
the
main ones, fairly. But it's Go-Go. He's an extra character that you don't necessarily get. I think Mog you don't necessarily get either unless you do some side thing.
And that tends to be the thing too, though. The more characters you have, the more in the older ones at least, they were more side characters that you had to do something to get.
He's like a big gorilla guy, like Bigfoot. What the heck is his name? It starts with a U or something. Those 3, Go-Go and the Bigfoot guy for sure, are definite extras, and I don't know if everybody knows.
I was gonna say too, though, and the one that I said there was 25 characters or whatever. Part of the problem with the ones I haven't played, I don't know the difference between, if you listed all the characters in H, you can, list... Spoiler. Characters that you do play for some amount of time, but they aren't your characters, your core characters that you were actually playing with. On in 12, they called them guests.
That's what I say.
There was
These are core characters
sometimes
that actually have stories.
Yeah, but I mean, in some of the other ones, I say, I don't remember which ones are your characters you play, and which ones are characters that are in the story,
Go-Go,
but you
Mog,
don't
and
play
what's his pickle. once you get them, they stay there. They're on such a bleh, bleh. That's a tongue twister.
Censorship. I mean,
Setzer's ship. They are on Setzer's ship with you, and you can like go up to them and talk to them and whatnot, and you can switch them out and get them to learn your what are they called in 6? I don't remember what they're called in 6. Espers. You can go and you teach them by
Esper. I was like, I didn't know that's what you were talking about because I was thinking Esper.
Yeah, you can teach them your Espers and whatnot. But
I was figuring out where you were going to teach them because I'm like, what do you mean?
Those 3 especially are extras that you can get, but like they are like the main ones that all have an actual story to them. Because then you've also got the general.
Well, I think that's why when I showed the Final Fantasy,
you also have general. The general guys.
Logo.
I don't
the Final
remember
Fantasy logo. I think that's why it was them that was lined up underneath it.
Mm-hmm.
Because those are the main ones.
Yeah.
There's Locke, Terra, Edgar, Sabin, Cayenne, Gao, Celise, Setzer, Shadow, and like 5 more. There's a ton of characters in this one. This is one I know at least 2 of my siblings finished. The same 2 that did 4 and 5. They finished it at least once. My sister thinks she's probably done it like 3 or 4 times. But I don't think I myself actually did finish it. I came pretty close, I believe. But I don't think I officially finished it. And it's been so many years since I even did that much that it's actually unfair to try and talk about it basically at all without going back and playing it or watching it again. So
I feel like it was back when we were also kind of choosing which ones we were going to play. I chose to play 6, you chose to play something else, Andrew chose to play 5, kind of thing. And then we would just sit and watch each other as we were playing the game, because I seem to remember James watching me play the game.
I don't think I sat and watched people play
them. That's actually a good point. Because I feel like it might have been James who realized that I probably killed Shadow. Because I went looking for him and I didn't quite clue in. I tried like a half dozen times to find him and I didn't quite clue in. And then I think it was James who actually realized that I probably killed him. I don't think Shadow's my favorite in 6, but he's definitely one of my favorite characters.
I added a note on the side. I said your favorite characters include Shadow, Locke, and Edgar.
Yeah.
That's how I worded it.
Yeah. And the first time I ever played it, I killed Shadow. And I didn't even realize it until it was about halfway through the 3rd act. And then I realized it when I went to actually go find him. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I killed him.
That's terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep, it was. Yep, it was. And I could not go back because I had saved over the game.
Oh, that's terrible.
The game that I could have gone back to get him, I saved over it. So I couldn't even go back. So the first time I ever played FF6, I killed poor Shadow. Because I didn't wait for him off Kefka's Island.
I think I possibly remember that.
Well, like I said, I didn't realize that I had actually killed him. I didn't realize I was supposed to wait. I did not realize that I killed him until I was like halfway through finding everybody again. And I'm like, I can't find Shadow. Why can't I not get Shadow? What the heck? And then
he dies on screen and it doesn't even tell you. Like, warning, your character died. Maybe you want to like not save over your game.
Yeah, but when you actually have played the game and you stop and think about it, like anybody who's played the game probably knows where I'm talking about. So if you stop and think about it, that island crashed.
Be careful because it's loud when you thump on this. It's louder than you think it is.
Kefka, I think, barely survived that island.
This is the first one with a nostalgia touch to it. And I do remember that I was highly annoyed that when they brought out the epic graphic videos for it, we didn't get to see Locke's face.
Nope, never. Not once.
It was turn-based. Yes! Turn-based for the win. And now I don't even remember what I think that this one was the last one that blatantly focused on the crystals. Though maybe 5 was the last one that did that, I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure 6 did as well. So maybe I'll detach a little here and talk about that for a second. I couldn't remember, so I might as well talk about here. I'm going to leave 6 for a bit and talk about this because I wanted to mention the crystals. I cut that part out partially because I said it's the last one they explicitly focused on, and then I realized, no, wait, I keep forgetting they're totally bringing that back into it. 16 is so intensely focused on the crystals, it's not even funny. They're literally their gods, pretty much.
6 is
so they are totally bringing it back again.
6 is not the crystals in the crystal format, like FF9's picture crystal. 6 is the 3 statues. It's the same concept.
Yeah.
And that was like Kefka's big thing. Go and
But see, that's
mess
why
with the
that's why I
statues.
wanted to talk about the theme, because like the themes in general, the whole questions and everything that they circle around, they never
Yeah.
leave that behind. Now the crystals, though, the light versus dark theme, I don't know how much I really want to get into this because it is a religion thing. Apart from noting that it's a thing, because this is the thing, it's a theme in Japan. A string of questions that they constantly ask, constantly twirl around to. Why is there darkness? Are humans worth protecting? What does it cost to bring or bring back the light? What is justice? What does revenge cost? The hero that gives up everything to save the world and usually has to disappear to reflect in solitude for a year or 5 as a result. Oof. All of these, and probably a couple more I'm forgetting right now, are so prevalent all over Japan's entertainment world. It is pretty much in every Final Fantasy game. And even just saying Kamen Rider, Super Sentai, and Garo, if you know we've barely touched the tip of the iceberg. No other country I've seen content from whirls around these topics the way that Japan does in terms of how they handle it or how frequently it dominates the story. Like no other country does it the way they do, or with the frequency they do. But this is where I will stop because yes, the crystals, the light and dark, all of these questions and the answers they answer them with, it all comes down to the religions tied in a knot with Japan's culture so tightly you can't take them apart, and it's too much to handle in a video series like we're on right now. So moving on. If you want more than that from me about Final Fantasy VI, then I don't know what to say, because I don't know if it's even possible for me to watch this one because it was a game. You have to read stuff and you have to do stuff. It's a game, so if I could find it to watch it, it would probably be a little walkthrough, which would include all the fighting and everything, and it would be tedious and boring. And because it's a game, you're supposed to play it. However, I don't have a PlayStation 1 or any kind of console to play FF6 on, so if you want more from me about that one, like I say, I probably can't give you more because I have no way of playing it. I don't have a computer that can handle Steam, so even if I can get it on Steam, that doesn't help me.
Actually, as I already said, it's on my tablet.
That's what I just said in my thingy up there. Actually, I think I can get it as an app form, so I probably could play it on my phone.
Yeah, but it already exists on my tablet. So if you plugged my tablet in and actually charged it and whatnot, it's on my tablet. And I think I have one of the other ones on my tablet,
Well,
actually,
there you go.
too.
So maybe I actually could.
Annoying as all get out. Like, the controls are really annoying to figure out. You can figure them out. They're really annoying, but you
That's
can
what I said.
play the
Everybody
game.
was saying there was a certain point where beyond that, it's like really hard to play it.
No, I've
on a
played the
tablet.
whole thing. I managed to play the whole
Beyond
thing.
a
You
certain
might get
point.
driven nuts because of your ADHD, but I managed to play the whole thing. There were a couple of things. There was a couple of places where, like, the play, and I'm supposed to be dancing, and I'm just like, you're not going where I told you to go.
I think,
But
it was
I do
more
have
like
it on
7
my
or
tablet.
8 that someone was saying that about. I don't think they were saying about it. I think 6 still is in the category of you can do it.
Yeah.
It's like 7 or 8 where they
I
start
have one of
saying
the
it's
other ones
really
on my
not
tablet.
working.
Thinking about it now, I have one of the other ones on my tablet. I might have 5 on my tablet.
Anyway, that was the end of that where I'm just saying goodbye to that. So, and like still I haven't got too much into it yet, but believe me, from 7 onwards, I get real deep into it because I have lots to say about the other ones. I hope you enjoy it. Feel free to leave comments. And, I mean, be polite, be clean. Bye.